If you're getting serious about your home or mobile music recording, then a USB audio interface is something that you may want to consider. So in this video, I'm going to tell you all about my very favorite audio interface, the Steinberg UR12. Let's go. Hi, my name is Pete. This is Studio Live Today, where I help you create, record, and release your best music. Now, let's cover the basics when it comes to audio interfaces. What does an audio interface do? It allows you to connect a microphone, a guitar, any audio source into the interface, which then connects via USB to your Mac or your PC. Or if you want to connect to an iPhone or an iPad, a Lightning to USB connection cable allows you to connect this up to your iPhone or your iPad. And that's what I do to record my last album. I recorded entirely on my iPhone and my iPad using nothing but this interface, and I got some pretty good sounds. Now, the good news is that at the moment, this is actually ridiculously cheap. In fact, on Amazon at the time of recording this, for $49, you can pick up the Steinberg UR12, or for $99, you can get the UR22, which has two complete inputs, and we'll talk a little bit more about the difference in just a moment. But if you did want to check this one out after you've watched the video and you think, yes, I'm in the market for something like that, check the links down below. There's some affiliate links there, and if you do make a purchase using those, you'll be helping out the channel here as well as getting yourself some cool new gear. So let's jump in and talk a little bit more about the Steinberg UR12 and why you should be considering it, putting it on your shopping list. Now, there are a heap of options when it comes to USB audio interfaces. So why do I recommend the Steinberg above all others? Well, it comes down to a few things. I want an audio interface to sound good, to be affordable because I'm in the home studio, as you probably are too, and also to be rock solid, reliable, so that every time you plug in, it's going to work out of the box without a problem. So Steinberg is that middle of the range. You can go higher end and get things like Audient and Focusrite Scarlett interfaces. Those are all great, but they're going to cost you 2 to 3 times the cost of this. You can also go on the cheaper side to something like the Behringer Euphoria, and that's going to be half the cost of this, but you're not going to get the same audio quality, reliability, and build quality. So the Steinberg UR12 sits right in the middle there, and I personally have been using this one for 3 years, and it has been doing a great job and hasn't actually missed a beat. So let's dive in and I'll tell you a bit about the features of the Steinberg UR12. And here is my own personal Steinberg UR12 that I've had for all of that time, and it has really served me well. You can see it's got a few scuffs on here because I literally use this everywhere and anywhere that I can, but it is heavy, it is built like a tank, it is solid as a rock, and you get some really good quality. So let's break it down from left to right here. We have our input here for our microphone, and we've got a D-Pre, which is Steinberg's preamp that they have preamplifier. What that does is it takes your microphone level signal and it brings it up to a line level signal. So microphones are very quiet, whether it's a dynamic or a condenser, any type of microphone you can plug in there, that you can dial that gain up to be able to have a solid signal into your Mac, your PC, or your iOS device. We've also got a high Z or high Z input here, which is your instrument input. And again, you've got the input gain you can control there. So you can plug a guitar directly into here and then use GarageBand or any other piece of software, the included Cubase software even, and actually record that. Use some guitar amp simulators and record your guitar sound. So that's very cool there. We've got the output here. We've got a direct monitor. So this is to actually monitor your signal without it going through your software and coming back to the hardware. And that's great if you're doing overdubs. So if you're recording multiple guitar parts or backing vocals or anything like that, you want to be able to actually hear the audio without any lag or latency, which basically means it's not going to line up the audio because you're hearing a slight delay when it's being played back from your software. So that works around that and is a great option. And of course your headphone jack, so you can plug in, and then if you're recording one track over the top of another track, you can have complete peace of mind there that you're going to have a good quality headphone signal. And of course, if you're using this with something like an iPhone or an iPad, the newer ones that don't have a headphone jack, we can connect this, and I'll talk about that in just a moment, to your iPhone or your iPad via the Lightning connector, and then we can have a headphone jack back on our device. Let's flip it around, because on the back here we've got even more good things. So we'll go right to left this time. Over here on the right we've got our switch there for 48 volt phantom power. So that means that in this mic preamp, we can plug in a dynamic microphone, or if we have a condenser microphone, we can plug that in here, flick on the power here, and our condenser mic has enough power to actually push the signal through to our software. So that's really important to have 48 volt phantom power on your audio interface. We've got RCA output jacks here. So if you want to output this into a pair of monitor speakers like I have here, or out into an amplifier, whatever you want to do, you've got that flexibility to push the left and right signal out there. Now we have unbalanced outputs here. So as opposed to some of the more expensive interfaces, you'll get balanced outputs. If that doesn't mean anything to you, it probably doesn't matter. But if you do want balanced outputs, you can go for the UR22mkII, which does have balanced outputs as well as all the features. And I'll let you know as we continue a little bit more about the 22 and what the difference is with this one. The final thing we have here, which is my favorite feature, and that is that this is multi-powered, which means that we can power it via USB, meaning if we plug it directly into a Mac or a PC, it'll be bus powered, which means it uses the USB bus to power it. So you plug in your laptop or your desktop, Mac or PC, and then you flick it over there, you plug it in via USB, and that is it. It's connected, it's plug and play, you're on your way. Or if you use it with a mobile device like I do, you can flick it over to the 5 volt DC power, and then you can actually power this using one of the power bank mobile batteries, or you can plug it into a USB power socket, and you can actually power this separately. And that's important because your iPhone or your iPad does not have enough power to power an interface like this. However, if you've got any sort of mobile battery pack or the ability to plug it into a USB power socket, then you are good to go. So that's a rundown of the main features of the Steinberg UR12. Now I mentioned the UR22 as well. What does the 22 do that the 12 doesn't? Well, it does a few things. The 22 has MIDI, so if you're using MIDI keyboards that have the old style 5-pin DIN connectors, you can plug in a MIDI keyboard to that, and it has 2 complete combo jacks. So you can plug in 2 microphones or 2 guitars or 2 of any audio source and record those separately. So you can record a mic and a guitar, for instance, at the same time with this. It's still a 2-channel interface, but you can't record, say, 2 microphones or 2 guitars because there's only 1 input for each. The UR22mkII has the ability to record 2 of those, and it also, as we mentioned before, has those balanced outputs. There's a few other differences, but those are the main things. And as I mentioned before, in terms of the value for money, at the moment, this thing, US $49 on Amazon. So that is an amazing price for this piece of kit. And then the UR22mkII is $99. So both of those right now, $50 off their recommended price. And other parts of the world, you can pick them up for similar sorts of prices as well. So that is almost going to do it. But I did mention there was one more thing. Because I use an iPhone or an iPad to do a lot of my recording, there's one more thing to keep in mind, and that is, how do we connect this to our iPhone or our iPad? Well, all we need is an adapter like this. So this is the Lightning to USB adapter. Well, there's 2 of them here. This is the standard one, which is just a USB to a Lightning. This is the USB 3 connector, which has a USB, a Lightning port, and then a Lightning connection at the other side. The benefit of this one is that you can charge your iPhone or your iPad at the same time as it's connected to an interface, a MIDI keyboard, a USB microphone, anything that you want to connect it to. So really, really handy device to have. These aren't super cheap, unfortunately. They range, depending where you are, anywhere from about $20 up to, I think I paid $60 Australian for this one. So yeah, they're not cheap when you're paying almost as much for your connection as you are for your interface. It's not great, but they are a super useful. Like I said, you can, anything USB, you can hook up an actual computer keyboard if you want to. There's a heap of different options. I've got a bunch of videos actually where I connect different things to my iPhone or my iPad using these USB adapters, which I'll link down below as well. You'll also be able to find links to where you can pick up one of these in the description, along with links to the Steinberg UR12 and Steinberg UR22mkII. And as I said, at the moment, it is the time to pick up these sort of things because they are going out at really, really good prices. They are great value all year round anyway. So if you're watching this in the future, don't feel too bad, but just right now, they just happen to be really, really cheap and they're a really good buy. So I hope you found this useful. If you are in the market for an audio interface and you're looking to pick up something like the Steinberg UR12 or UR22mkII, then you can check out those links. And until next time, I'll see you on the next video. Happy creating. Hey, thanks for sticking around. If you'd like to check out some more videos, there are 2 linked down below. You can also subscribe to the channel by clicking on the Studio Live Today icon up in the top right corner, or head on over to studiolivetoday.com for even more audio goodness.